And your belief is that because Joe Longo was a police officer, the police department acted differently than it would have had this been someone who was just a regular guy off the street.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, and that's the concern, and Gina, that's the concern for you. And you want, I'm assuming you want to see laws implemented and altered and policies changed.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So, what? Anything else you feel that you'd like to get out here and accomplish and coming on the radio today?
I would. And separate from the lawsuit, our family has just experienced a tremendous outpouring of support, kindness, and generosity. And even on the days where I think I'm not going to make it through the day, something will happen, or somebody will, I don't know, drop off a pumpkin bread or do something for the children that just touches me and helps me get through the day. And I know our entire family has experienced it. And I just want to say thank you to the community, because I don't know how we could have survived without these friends, family, even strangers who have been so supportive in so many ways. And that actually brings me to another thing that I would like to address. There have been benefits. There have been 2 so far. There's one upcoming in January.
I've heard that there is the rumblings that we've heard is that there seems to be somewhat of a riff over the benefits and which benefits are official, and I'm assuming that's a little where you're going.
I am. And there's not a riff. Both of our families, the Longo family and my family, have lost children, siblings.
Mm-hmm.
There's no family discourse.
Right.
What happened was friends of mine, and through no request of my family have any of these come to be. People just were
so you guys have not organized the benefits.
No.
Yeah.
People were just so distraught about what happened. It was so tragic that everybody just kept saying, we need to do something. We need to do something. And so I think 3 separate groups simultaneously said, I know, we'll plan a benefit.
Yeah.
So some friends of mine started planning. A very good friend of Joe Longo Sr., with some family members started planning. And then the Whitesboro, some of the teachers associations and the school district started planning. And when my friends started to, talk about dates and times, then we learned about the other 2. And, ultimately it was for the children, and people, as I said, just didn't know. They felt like they had to do something. And that's why all of this is happening. Are you, I mean, you're bringing this up for a reason. Yes.
And my only assumption is, are you worried that people are thinking, another benefit? Is that your fear?
Sure.
That the family, they keep doing this, they're money hungry. They're looking for.
Yes. And as I said before, we would have provided for these children, and, mostly what they need right now is love, support. They need to be safe, and they need stability. And those are the basic needs. None of these were done by my family or requested by my family. We have attended both, separate, different family members have attended each, and probably will do so in January. More is to say, my God, look at how hard people have worked, and look at what you've done, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing this for these children. Yeah.
Let's. Well, I think that's. I was going to ask that question anyway. There was a picture in the OD. Do you want to discuss that?
I did not read any of the articles for some time after that happened, and someone had mentioned to me an apology that was printed after the fact, and I didn't know what they were talking about. And needless to say, when I saw the photo and I realized, I was appalled. I felt that was completely inappropriate and tabloid-like and had no business or no relevance to the reporting of the story. That photo was not necessary, and I found it extremely offensive. And I have not had any personal apology from anyone employed by the OD.
That picture did not just appear in the Observer-Dispatch. I believe it was picked up by the AP, and it was carried in other newspapers around the country.
How have you been able to keep these kids? Because the traumatic experience, no one can come to you and say, I know how you guys feel. It doesn't matter what experience anyone has been through. No one knows how you guys as a family feel. But beyond that, these children, how do you protect them from all of this?
Well, the kids are at slightly different age levels.
Right.
So the 15 and 17-year-old, and let's face it, these kids are media savvy. They're on the internet. So, just a word of caution to all of these people who like to share their opinions with the world. There are 15-year-old, 17-year-old children reading what you write.
Right.
So please, please be mindful of that before you think to, share your opinion that could be extremely hurtful to these kids.
Yep.
But they're media savvy. They're on the internet. And I wasn't reading the newspaper articles days after, but I did find them in the girls' rooms. So they're seeing it. It's out there. And so the best that we can do is, right now they're doing well in school. They're participating in extracurricular activities. They are as happy and healthy as can be expected. Of course, they're sad, but they're children, and so they process this much differently. For the older children, we can be a lot more open and specific about what we're doing and, what we intend to talk about with the media. And with the younger children, the 9-year-old in particular, he's not watching the morning news.
Right.
They're watching SpongeBob.
Right.
So, we can shelter him from that a little bit more. But as a family, I think we are open and we're discussing things and we're answering questions and they're getting help when and if they need it. So that's our approach right now.
Are you have you sought out for some counseling in ways to? Because I don't know that the average person could wake up the next morning and say, okay, here's how we're going to work with the children.
Yes.
I'm assuming you've had to go out and get some expert help and say, how do we don't know what to do.
Yes.
Who would know what to do in this situation?
Absolutely. For the younger children, there was someone who is more experienced with trauma incidents with children, and then someone else who's helping the teenager, and then someone who's working with my husband and myself. And my parents have to, nobody can possibly get through this without some sort of guidance.
Yeah.
And so, we're just using the resources that we have available to us to help these kids first and foremost get through this the best that they can, and to help us understand how to best do that.
I'll ask you one final question. What do you say? Because it's going to be out there.
Yes.
What do you say to the people who are commenting on this after the announcement last week, saying, "Oh, they're just looking for money"? But beyond that, here the story was a terrible story for all of us, and you've reopened this wound. What do you say to those people?
Maybe I reopen the wound for some, but we live it every single day, every moment of every day. So the wound is open. It is for our entire family and our very close circle of friends. So to us, that's not an issue. We still have a first Christmas to get through. We still have, things that will happen with these children for the rest of their lives where their parents won't be present. The wound will always be open, Bill.
Yeah.
For the community at large, I think it needs to be an issue that's addressed over and over and over and over again. But for those of us in the family, our close circle of friends, it will always be an open wound.
And Bill, what's the answer to that? don't say anything. And so the next time it happens, don't say anything. And the next
Right.
time it happens, don't say anything. So the problem completely goes unaddressed.
I cannot, in my sister's honor, I need to do everything I possibly can to make sure that another family doesn't have to go through this. It's a living nightmare, and I will do whatever I can to make sure that the things that need to happen.
All right. I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to add?
No, but thank you for having us.
This is a tough week for you guys.
It is.
It'll be a tough week.
Yes.
And again, nobody knows exactly how you all feel and how these kids feel. Nobody can really say they know, no matter what we've been through. So we wish you the best the holidays. So
thank you, Bill, and thanks again to everybody who's been just so kind and generous.